Woburn Safari Park has been criticised for locking up its lions in pens described as cramped, inadequate and unsafe. While visitors saw the animals roaming free in the summer months, government vets said the animals were spending up to 18 hours a day cooped up during the winter, and armed guards were sometimes needed to protect the staff.
As it celebrates its 40th birthday, the last thing this much-loved park expected to be doing was defending the way it cares for its animals. In January, a former employee contacted Central Bedfordshire Council with concerns about the conditions the lions were being kept in. The council and DEFRA vets then carried out a full inspection of the enclosures.
They found that some of the complaints that had been made by this ex-employee were justifiable to one extent or another, and they felt that these had to be dealt with.
And these were the main findings. The lions were being kept in overcrowded conditions and there were signs of fighting between the lions. The overnight house was inadequate and the facilities were structurally unsound and unsafe. And during the winter months, the lions were confined for unreasonable lengths of time.
I think most people will be shocked to hear what's been happening to animals in Woburn Safari Park. Many people would find safari parks more acceptable than the traditional zoo because they feel that animals have more space. I think this latest situation has just proved that this most certainly isn't the case.
But Woburn says it is and always has been committed to the highest standards of animal welfare, and fewer lions are now kept at the park.
Their housing, in my opinion, has been adequate for their needs for this time, but we do recognise that their house is in need of upgrade, and for that reason Woburn have commissioned and in fact have commenced construction of a new house.
But the new lion enclosure might not be the answer to all of Woburn's problems. The DEFRA report quotes guidelines from the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums, which says the new house does not appear to come close to meeting these standards in terms of den space. DEFRA is now compiling a final report into these complaints, and if that contains any recommendations for further improvements, then Woburn will be obliged to enforce these or risk losing its licence. Stuart Radcliffe, BBC Look East.
Later on in the programme, the less glamorous side of...
The family of a woman who died at the Great East Swim in Suffolk at the weekend have paid tribute to her. She was among 3,000 who took part in the 1-mile race organised by Nova International at Alton Water Reservoir on Saturday.
It was billed as the perfect setting for a great swim. For around 2,000 competitors attempting to raise tens of thousands of pounds for charity, it was. But not for 35-year-old Tracy Rammell from Leicester. Halfway through her race, she ran into difficulties and had to be helped out of the water. A picture taken by an eyewitness shows the boat on the left of the image in which she was rushed back to shore.
The woman next to me just said, "Oh my goodness," and kind of pointed over my left shoulder. And in were coming in these 3 boats. And in the middle one was a woman clearly doing a heart massage on someone who was lying in the boat. So it was quite a scary experience when, you know, your friend's in the water.
She was taken to Ipswich Hospital but later died. In a statement, her family said, "We are devastated by the death of Tracy. She was a regular swimmer who loved the outdoors and died doing something she really enjoyed." Weather conditions at the event had made swimming more difficult, but it was decided to go ahead with the race. The event's organisers say the safety of competitors is their priority. Its safety committee had already reduced the length of the race by over 100 metres due to the weather conditions. It says it will take part fully into any investigation to ascertain exactly what happened. Clive Lewis, BBC Look East, Alton Water in Suffolk.
Flags have been raised across the region in support of Armed Forces Day this Saturday. More than 100 people turned out for the occasion in Essex this morning. The annual event this weekend is an opportunity for the nation to show its support for those who serve in the forces. In a few weeks' time, Norwich will find out whether it will be the UK's first city of culture. It's currently the bookies' favourite. But can the city really compete with Birmingham, Londonderry and Sheffield? The organisers of this year's Norfolk and Norwich Festival certainly think so.
The race is on to become the UK's first city of culture, and Norwich is hoping to win gold. Last month, the Norfolk and Norwich Festival showcased 1,000 performers during 350 events at 50 venues in just 16 days. A taster of what could be achieved in 2013.
The show is called La Vie, the company is called The Seven Fingers, Les Sept Doigts de la Main in French, and we are a contemporary circus based in Montreal. This one is our more cabaret-like show. We like to have a connection with the public. In that show, we welcome them into our world.
The ball is about the experience, about how it brings people together. The project is actually very much about playing with a city's architectural environment. So in Norwich, we're running around and we're in a different site each day.
Cardboard community just kind of was one of the things that we developed. There's literally a mixed generation of people here. There's adults and young people, and each one of them has a chance to play and be immersed into the same thing.
What you're seeing here is the vans preparing, lining up to have their audio kit installed for a piece called Suburban Counterpoint, which is a piece of music which will be created across an entire suburb at a time.
This year's festival brought around £9 million to the region's economy. If Norwich becomes City of Culture in 2013, not only will we see a diverse programme of events, but also financial benefits. Dawn Gerber, BBC Look East, Norwich.
The High Court has ruled the decision by the last government to grant Norwich unitary status was unlawful. It accuses Labour of making a complete mockery of the consultation process. The ruling is largely academic, as the new government has already decided to scrap the plans. The turkey producer Bernard Matthews says it's seen a modest rise in sales since last year. Profits are also up after the group cut costs and expanded its free-range turkey business. The company employs 2,000 people in Norfolk and Suffolk.
More details have been announced about the Norfolk stage of the Tour of Britain. The event in September involves some of the world's top cyclists and is worth around £1.5 million to the local economy. Sean Peel reports.
This is where the tour begins, the Market Square in King's Lynn.
From King's Lynn to Great Yarmouth, it's the first time the event has come to the flatlands of Norfolk. For King's Lynn, a town often out on a limb, it's manna from heaven.
I'm actually hoping for the Wimbledon effect, whereas now Wimbledon's just starting, everybody likes to get the tennis rackets out, so there'll be huge publicity around the Tour of Britain, and we hope that will mean people would be encouraged to get out to cycle.
When the tour comes to Lynn, there'll be no room at the inn. This was last year when it went through Durham. There are at least 100 cyclists, plus their support teams, and an estimated 7,000 tourists.
Let's take a journey.
Today, the County Council launched an animated film showing the route at nearly 120 miles. It's the longest stage in the history of the race and takes in Hunstanton, Burnham Market, Wells, Holt, Norwich and the Broads. It's hoped 70,000 people will line the route.
We're making it absolutely clear to all the people along the route that this is a really great event. There's over 200 schools within 4 miles of the route. They're really being geared up to really take this seriously, and we just want all the people of Norfolk to regard this as a really great coup for this county.
And this is where it ends, Great Yarmouth.
The next day, the tour takes in Suffolk and Essex, but the route hasn't been announced. It's the largest free sporting event in the country and will also give cycling fans their first chance to see British riders like Bradley Wiggins in action, taking on the world's best on British roads. We cycle on the left here. Sean Peel, BBC Look East, Norfolk.